and it's really a simple dough. You just want to be sure not to overwork it. So we will start with the butter substitute. This butter is still it's still a little firm, which is good for this recipe because you don't really want to cream it. You want to kind of just incorporate it with the dry ingredients. I'm actually going to grab a fork because it's easier to do it that way.
And just so you all know what she means by creaming, a lot of the baking techniques, let's say if you were making cookies, you would have to cream your butter and your sugars together before adding your egg. And that just basically means you're just going to take a whisk, butter, sugar, and whisk it like a whole lot till it actually becomes almost like a pale yellow.
You're really incorporating that in there. This you want it to have some flaky tenderness, so keeping some of those butter chunks separate, or vegan butter chunks, that really will help when it bakes keep that flaky and crisp texture.
Wonderful.
We're gonna go ahead, we've got the vegan butter substitute in there. I'm gonna add the powdered sugar in here. Do that, and we're also going to add a little bit of arrowroot powder and some Himalayan sea salt in there. The arrowroot helps kind of take place of the egg, so it will act as a binding agent to make sure that everything stays together. Now I am just incorporating that butter into the powdered sugar, arrowroot, and sea salt. And you want to just kind of, we use the term cutting it in. If you have a pastry cutter, you can use that. I'm not fancy today, so I'm just using a fork. That works just as well, especially for the home cook.
So this is sort of the same step if you were making, let's say, a pie crust from scratch, when you actually take the cold butter and flour and you just basically work it in your fingers until they're basically in small pea shapes.
Exactly. All right, and now I'm going to add in the almond flour we've got here. All pâtes sucrées, it's traditional for there to be some almond flour in there for texture and for taste.
French do like their almond.
They love almond. I love almond too. I'm a big fan of that. And now I'm going to add a little bit of oat milk in here, and the flour. Sorry, not the flour. The mixture will separate. When I do this, it will start to look a little curdled, but that's the way it's supposed to be. You don't want to, like I said, you want to keep some of these ingredients separate so that you can get that flaky crust. I'm going to add the flour now. We're going to incorporate that, and we should be getting kind of a shaggy sort of a dough, I guess I would say. All right, so now this is coming together, and it's really important not to overwork it, so I'm actually not going to mix it anymore. If I do keep going, the flour and the gluten in the flour will start creating more gluten strands, and it will get tough, and we don't want that. So I'm now going to just kind of work it a little bit with my hands. Now I'm going to take our dough, I'm going to saran wrap it, and we're going to pop it in the fridge, and usually like just a little disc shape, and then you already have it in a circle shape so that you can roll it out easily. We want to put our dough in the fridge, and we want to chill that so that it will keep all of those butter flakes separate when we roll it out. We want to make sure that they stay that way so that when we bake it, that it will create kind of those little buttery pockets in there and keep it nice and tender. All right, so now we're going to make the vegan chocolate oat milk pudding. And we are going to start by adding the oat milk, 2 cups of oat milk in here, stovetop.
Now, does it interrupt for a second, does it matter which type of non-milk you use?
It does not. You can use other types of dairy-free milk. Almond milk tends to get a little bit of a strange flavor when it's heated, so I wouldn't recommend that. Okay. Coconut milk is great, but you're going to have that coconut flavor. Oat milk's really great because you can add a lot of different flavors without it really having an aftertaste of something, or without, you can kind of customize it more, I'd say.
Okay, because the oat milk itself is just more of a mild background flavor, whether almond milk would be very strong, and then
coconut, obviously just be straight up coconut.
Yeah, you just have coconut pudding or coconut chocolate pudding, which is delicious, but it's, yeah, you'd have that extra flavor.
Wonderful.
Yeah, so this pudding is so easy. You honestly can just put everything right in your saucepan. You've got your sugar, your oat milk, got some cocoa powder here. I use this special Dutch processed cocoa powder because it has that like rich dark chocolate flavor that I enjoy. I've got some arrowroot flour again, and some Himalayan sea salt. That arrowroot is basically what's gonna give us a pudding. It's going to heat up and it starts acting similar to a cornstarch.
Thickening agent.
Yeah, and it starts kind of pulling it together. I'm gonna turn this onto medium. Medium's a great heat for this. It's really important before it heats up to incorporate that cocoa powder and that arrowroot. You don't wanna get clumps, and if you add arrowroot or cornstarch or flour or anything like that to a liquid while it's hot, you're just gonna end up with a clumpy mess. All right, now this pudding's starting to come together. It's starting to get a little bit thicker here. I'm going to turn that off, turn your heat off, and then we've got some bittersweet chocolate here. I'm gonna add a little bit of that in at a time and stir that. The consistency you're looking for when you are, before you add your chocolate is what they call in culinary school nappe. It coats the back of the spoon. It's just starting to get that puddingy texture, and the chocolate helps set that to make it what you're looking for in your tart or your dessert. And I'd say it's important to add chocolate a little bit at a time. Make sure that you're melting it all. Smaller pieces are better. That way you don't end up with all these different chunks, or it doesn't like come together and be one big old block of chocolate in there, hard to work with. Okay, so now I'm going to chill this pudding, and I'll let it cool down for a couple minutes beforehand, but I'll put that piece of saran wrap or cling wrap over the top so that as it's cooling, it doesn't form a skin on the top, because that will also eventually give you chunks if you stir in that skin that it creates. So we'll cover this in saran wrap and put that in the fridge.